One, two. It's your boy Abdul-Salaam, aka Brother Jabril. Today's special guest is none other than Juan Gonzalez, aka Wonji, from Houston, Texas. Actually, by way of New York City, Brooklyn. One of Houston's best kept secret weapons, and multi-productions, multi-label productions, worked with some legends in the game. Wonji, welcome to Exposure, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, I never took my clothes off for any of them labels.
Yeah. Never had to take your clothes off. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. We don't have people in the industry like that. That's New York.
Yeah, that is.
So, welcome to the show. Exposure is a show that's October 26th in Houston, Texas at Bald Kitty. I think I don't know if you've been to the venue yet, but you're really going to love the venue, man. It's a cool
No, I
spot.
haven't been to that one. I mean, he
Yeah.
always, he would changes that every once in a while. So
Yeah.
that's
So,
cool, man.
why don't you give people a little rundown about Wanji's origin story? Where did it start for you? And what other kind of genres do you get into besides house music?
All right. Music wise, I've always been in music. My father, my uncles, they play guitar. Um, Uncles been in bands in Puerto Rico, New York. They play at the Apollo, which is awesome. That's a good way to learn your chops. Somebody booing you off stage. Yeah. Uh, I guess in junior high, I played trumpet. I moved on to that. Anything basically, a horn instrument, tuba, stuff like that, French horns. Um, I got into, I was always into dance music in the 70s, late 70s, 80s, because it was always around the house. Uh, Salsa music, a lot of that, ton of that. My dad's Puerto Rican, my mom's Ecuadorian, so it was always there. The food, the music, always. So, um, I guess in the 80s when I moved out to into Florida, that's late 80s, that is. That's when I discovered like house music, what it really was. I didn't know it was house music, in the early 80s. I didn't mid 80s. I didn't know that's what it was. It was just something that I liked. It wasn't quite disco. It was just more futuristic. I mean, according to nowadays in 2024, it's not very futuristic, but compared to the music now. But it was back then. It was hype, you know. Um, I guess when I was in Miami in the late 80s, early 90s, that's when I discovered house music, And over there in Miami, there was that bass. They had that bass, music.
Bass
Oh my
music,
God.
DJ Magic Mike,
Yeah,
all
dude,
that.
right, right. Oh my God, you heard that everywhere, dude. Everywhere. Man, and it hit though, man. If you had a system in your car, that shit hit. Um,
I had a DJ Magic Mike mixtape or mix CD,
cassette, yeah,
and I would
dude.
play it in my car, and I tore the shit out of my 6x9s, just like beating that music in my little Oldsmobile Calais.
Oh man, dude. I know what that is, man. I used to do car audio, dude. I used to do big systems, man, professionally, for like Autorama down here, competitions. And yeah, that's what we would test out them woofers. But before big woofers, 6x9s, yeah. 6x9s are considered big back then. Yeah, now that's nothing. But yeah, man. I had always been DJing though, on and off in the early 80s when I was in like high school. I wasn't really per se DJing. I was like I was a friend with I don't know if do you know Audio 3? Remember Audio
Sure, yeah,
3
yeah,
back in the old days in the 80s?
definitely.
Um, what's his name?
You talking about Lionel?
Lionel. Yeah,
Yeah,
Lionel. Yeah, he
yeah,
used to live across Audie Mel right from me in the neighborhood across from me.
yeah.
So I would go there with my homeboy Umberto, and see, Lionel had 1200s. He was the first one to have 1200s in the neighborhood. He was young, younger than me. So we're like, all right, let's go check him out. And we would see him, and he'd be like, I was like, oh damn, he's good. He was young, Lionel. He's younger than me, So I'm in high school, So and man, we would go there as much as we could because he was the one that had the 1200s and the setup and everything. And then he hooked up with Audio 3, a couple of older guys that I went to high school with too. And yeah, he was really good, man. The dude, and I used to just carry crates every once in a while, of records for them to gigs before they got there. We would just go pick them up at their uncle's house or something. And oh man, yeah, dude, that's how I started, like just crates, like everybody else does. Then I moved into taking over like a gig because somebody didn't show up, and then not for Audio 3, but just everybody DJ'd back then, and then it
Right.
was like a quinceañera, so I would do those too. Hey man, I wasn't doing house yet. I was just I was just DJing, everything, hip hop, YouTube, you
Nice.
know, stuff like that. And then like when I fast forward in Florida, that's when I discovered house music, and then coming back to Houston, I was like, wow, it's awesome. It's very disco-y. It's very, hyper, I like that. Not overly big floor like techno, which I do like too. But
Was there any memorable nightclubs, or was it a nightclub situation that got you to hear that music, or was it like a radio station thing?
when I got back from Florida, because there was space or over there in Florida, so I
Right.
would take my older cousin to go there. I would drop her off because I was underage. When I got back to Houston, though, even though I was underage, there was a place called Therapy. It used to be way down Main Street
Sure. Yeah.
downtown. Real dark place. No signs, nothing. You walk in and there's water on the floors, real dark, dim. And it was just a smart bar, no alcohol. And it was after hours it was after hours. So all kinds of music was played, like Depeche Mode before they were Depeche Mode, you know what I mean? Just really good music, all around the board. It felt like you were in like the west side of New York or something,
Right.
in the early 80s or something, listening to something like that. It was cool. You paid $5 to get in. They didn't check your ID, after hours. That was it.
I went to a rave there. This was well
A small
after.
place.
Yeah, it was well after the legacy that it had. It was just a venue that people were just renting out, and I can't remember the name of the group that did the party there, but it got busted, and it was literally like one of the first parties I ever went to because I was not very into the rave scene, so to speak. I was a hip hop kid that came into this music through my roommate Tattoo Dan, and
Oh,
I didn't
damn.
really want anything to do with what I considered, and I was ignorant that at that time, I didn't really understand that a lot of people really just enjoyed the music, but to me, it looked like a bunch of kids abusing themselves with drugs and kind of zoning out. And there was, of course, that happening, but to my, I had worked in the youth recovery industry for so long, kind of helping kids
Mm.
get sober and keep them off of drugs and stuff. And, walking in there, I just didn't feel right. But, over time, I started to realize like this scene is like, it's a combination of people who are lost, a bunch of misfits who don't belong anywhere else, and feel like they're at home here. And then as well, people that just identify with the music, that want to be a part of that. And I think that was really cool moment in time. But
What kind of
therapy,
raves?
what's
What
that?
kind of raves? Were they drum and bass,
So a
or
lot
were
of the
they?
parties I would go to, because I was roommates with one of the biggest promoters in the city. It was like multi genre. Even on the main floor, there were multi genres, and it's funny because now when you think about programming, like why would you put drum and bass with house music, you know? But in the context of like big draws, they would put people on and they would just cut the music out and start another, another. There was no continuity, in the music, and it was odd to me, but I started to get it over time. But yeah, the big
What was
big
it?
format.
Remember, you remember that club across the street from where the baseball stadium is now? I forgot what it was called. It was
Yes.
multiple rooms, remember? And they
Yeah.
would have a hip hop in one room, drum and bass in another,
Yeah.
techno in another, soulful house in another. Oh my goodness. I forgot
Yeah.
what it was called though, but yeah. But
Yeah, I
they would do
remember that
stuff like
place.
that, yeah. And that was nice.
Spy was like that. Spy had a couple.
The
Um,
upstairs and the
and then
downstairs.
Hyperia was like 3 rooms. Sometimes they would have like a fourth, like a little side room. Neil was just such a great guy. He would
Yeah,
just try
period. I
and
love that place.
yeah, rest in peace,
Was
man.
that the place with the big subwoofer that you could stand in?
Yeah,
Was
man.
that the one?
That was in
Yeah,
the
you could
side
stand.
room too.
Yeah, we would stand in there and just be like, "Oh my God, you feel that bass so good." And they were playing drum and bass. That was the best.
Yeah, exactly. You're probably one of them kids. I was like, these lost
Yeah,
souls.
yeah, dude. And I wasn't doing drugs back then. I never did.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
drank,
yeah, exactly. So,
I never did drugs. Yeah.
so you got into dance music in Miami, and then you made your way
Yeah.
where? What was your
Back to
next step?
Houston.
Back to Houston.
Back to Houston. Yeah.
Okay,
Because in New York, I was already listening to disco as a young kid in the
right.
late 70s, 80s. Yeah, I was already. That was just something that was in the house. I mean, I still got the records right here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I still got my Donna Summers. I got it
and
all.
those are gems, man. Those are things you can
Yeah.
get rid of.
Uh-uh.
It's
Uh-uh.
a moment in time, a time when like people were just so free and having a good time, and disco
Yeah.
was king at the club, and
Yeah.
there was and then there was the rock and roll era, right? And the rock and
Hmm.
roll era kind of took over a lot of stuff.
It's a cycle.
Most of
Yeah.
the mainstream was being inundated with rock and roll, and then house music came, right? And house music was, as Frankie Knuckles says, disco's revenge, right? And
But you gotta also realize what happened with okay, with disco's around. All of a sudden it starts to peter out late 70s, right?
yeah,
But listen to what rock and roll was doing.
yeah.
I mean,
Rolling
listen to the
Stones, I
Rolling
miss you.
Stones.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
We were thinking all the same thing. We
Rod
were thinking the
Stewart.
same way. Yeah. All
Rod,
of them. Yeah.
yeah,
Look what they were doing with rock and roll,
yeah.
adding that into it. Disco. Yeah.
Yeah, and
The
sometimes
elements.
even begrudgingly, a lot of those guys were like not into doing that style of music, but you
Labels
know,
were being pushed. They're
yeah,
their own labels that they demand things. So
yeah,
yeah. But they did it great. They did
yeah,
it
they
great
did.
though.
I think it's
It,
interesting how R&B turned into disco. You know what what I mean by that is that once R&B started to get into that like 115 and higher BPM,
mm,
um, the mainstream culture kind of grabbed onto it and labeled it disco, and
mm,
then started to introduce more of that kind of blue-eyed, just like what they did with soul music, blue-eyed soul. It's like it became more,
mm.
um, I guess whitewashed is the correct way to put it, but it doesn't sound right to me. But it does, you did start to notice that it just started getting silly. You had your disco duck and your, you know, that
Well,
kind of like silly
that would
music.
be trying to them making it pop,
Yeah,
meaning there's an agenda behind what they're doing, which is trying to sell a whole bunch of records, and so you get that.
yeah,
That's what the outcome would be right there. It's not an honest thing. But
yeah,
disco, back to the disco thing. I mean, if you listen to 50s music or early 60s music, the Supremes, way before disco. I mean, listen to what's in it. Violins,
yeah,
just like disco, horns, just like disco,
yeah,
It just, it just it just tumbleweeded into something awesome.
yeah. Of course.
That's all
Yeah,
it did all the way to the 70s. And in the 70s, Some people just don't believe that in the late 60s that music was already out. It was. Just keep, you got to look back, you know. It's out there, you know.
Yeah.
Just I wish record stores were out, you know. That way people could just go crate digging. See, I told you. They ain't got to believe me. Just go to the store. You'll
Yeah, I
find it.
still will go to a record store, and it's great. It's a good bit of nostalgia, but there's not as many. It's back to the way it used to be in Houston, Texas, when you would go shopping for music, and you just have to file through so much bullshit, so much commercial and like boring stuff that never sounded great to me. To
Remember
find those
chemistry
like
record?
soulful, yeah, to find those soulful gems that it just. So now it's kind of gone back to that where you really have to find the right place to buy new vinyl. So a lot of times I just
Mhm.
end up like when I go to a vinyl shop, I usually just buy old disco. I've got a ton of old disco on this side of my crates, and just find those samples and stuff. But
Mhm.
I miss DJing like that. I do miss DJing. I don't miss carrying crates. Obviously, I think that's what a lot of
Nah.
a lot of DJs will
Back
tell you.
problems.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to like deadlift,
Oh,
50 pounds every time.
200 records.
Yeah,
Gee.
exactly. Yeah, so I like to ask people a question to finish the sentence. I DJ because I like to understand what your motivation is behind presenting music. Some people take it as more of like an esoteric, and some people take it as a spiritual thing. Other people just like playing cool fucking music. What is it that motivates you? How would you finish this sentence? I DJ because.
All right. I would say because that feeling when if you're a professional basketball player, what they call that, they're in the zone
The zone.
feeling. Okay. To me, being in the zone as a DJ would be watching everybody get off to what I'm doing on the turntables. They're dancing, they're moving, and they're moving in different ways like I want them to move. Then I know that I'm controlling them, and that sounds weird, but as a DJ,
Yeah.
just that puts me in the zone when I see people like, oh yeah, that we're going back and forth right here. We're understanding each other here. They're on the floor. That's really what it is to me. I don't know if
Nice.
I'm saying it right.
You DJ because
It's
you
just
like the
that I
control over
like
the crowd.
I, I like looking at people have a good time, and when I see that, it's like a communication without communicating.
I say that all the time.
Yeah, it's just that. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like the zone. You're in the zone as a basketball or football player. Like a quarterback, you can be in the zone.
Right.
Michael Jordan, you can be in the zone,
Yeah.
because you're controlling the ball.
I
And you
can
feel that
relate to
way.
that
It's
for
it's
sure.
it's it's like being high without doing drugs.
It's the ultimate,
Like
man.
for real.
Yeah, it really
Like for
is.
real. Like
Yeah.
really, really. It's exactly like that. It's just it's a high like you just don't know, natural.
I think
When you get it right, because when you don't, then you start sweating your balls off and you start
yeah, for
freaking out.
sure. You're like, "Oh
Yeah,
shit,
you're
this is
like,
not
oh
working."
damn, what the hell? These people don't like nothing I
They
like
don't like
about playing.
nothing. No, you're right, man. I think I always characterize it as I use music as a way to communicate with people, and it's the only time that I
Mhm.
feel like I'm really truly connected with people. So in that, I love DJing because it gives me a voice. But there is that metaphysical part that you were talking about, that connection where you're
Just
just like,
look at them. Nobody even has to say words.
and once
You
you're
ain't got to say a whole
there,
words.
you're so right. Once you're there, there's no emotion that can express that feeling other than being high. It
Hmm.
feels like being high because you
On
just
live, you just yeah.
you just triggered all those endorphins. You got all that
Hmm.
social proof, that evidence that people enjoy what you're presenting to them, and then at the same time, like, you went out on a limb to play something that you weren't sure, and then people react to it, so that kind of gives you an emotional high.
You start hitting your crates different. All of a sudden, you're not thinking about what you're gonna play next after a while. I mean, because you're thinking about it the first three records, and and then you're like, once you think you get it and you got it, and you see it, then you're just like, you already know what's going next. You're like, oh yeah, this is going next. Oh yeah, this is going after that one. You're already set up.
Yeah.
It's fast, quick. You're not thinking about it, and that's what makes it nice. You just don't think, and it feels comfortable, like you're just always doing it.
You know what? I think I'm going to start introducing this into my line of questioning because I always like to kind of pick apart the way, not pick apart, I hate to make it sound like I'm going to judge this, but the question is, do you feel when you put together a playlist, like you're putting a playlist together for the upcoming show, do you feel like you have to, are there some obligatory tunes that you always have to bring with you? So I guess, a two-part question. So number one, do you feel like you always have to bring a certain prerequisite? Number two, is that, what are those? And then if you don't, why don't you bring like popular tracks or big hits if you don't worry about those kind of like obligatory popular tunes or the love and happiness and stuff like that? Like, do you bring that? If you do, what do you bring? And then if you don't, why is it that you don't do
All right. Number one, I ain't gonna lie, I do.
that?
I think about like, hmm, what old one's gonna get them in the mood maybe that night? You ain't gonna know until you get there, of course.
Right.
But what I do is I just pick a few, one, two, three. Yeah, all right, you know, let's
What will
just try
those
these
be?
three. I never do Diamond Life.
Never
Everybody does
Diamond
that
Life. Yeah.
one.
You bring the love and happiness. You have like a
That one,
special
and I
Wonji
mostly bring
remix.
acapella. I just try to bring Jocelyn Brown, Michelle
Michelle
uh,
Weeks.
Kane, Michelle Weeks, just acapellas, really.
Yeah.
That's it. And I'll just play like well, it depends on where I'm at in my set. I mean, if I'm already somewhere where I'm playing, say, a little bit more on my tribally side,
Yeah.
then I'll just bust out with a Vega Records something, some sort of acapella. I mean, a dub, some sort of just a drum beat, no bass line, just a drum beat. Throw the Jocelyn Brown right on top, boom, boom, and head for my real song. You know what I mean? And I'm in and out. I just want people to when I see that they're feeling it, then I'll go for that. If they ain't feeling it, yeah, I ain't just gonna put it on and be like, oh, let's hope they go for it with this. No, no, no. It's all about the feel for me.
Yeah.
Uh, all the way, it's about the feel. I mean, um,
Yeah.
I mean, that's about it. I mean, it's really the acapellas. I mean, you do that. I mean, I've heard you many times. I've
Oh
seen you
yeah.
way too many times. So you do that. You bring the acapellas out and start a set out like that, and then boom, slam into a song. It just
I
it's
enjoy
on the
bringing the
fly. I mean,
acapellas for sure. Acapellas
because
to
it's on the
me,
fly.
yeah, you can be real creative with them as long as you
Hmm.
do it in key. If you're overlaying an
Tempo,
acapella,
especially
yeah,
tempo.
especially tempo.
Yeah, that's
But
the
there's
thing, the
certain
tempo.
there's certain old like the Peach Boys. I can think of some Jocelyn
Hmm.
Brown that you can just, doesn't matter what tempo the music is, but you could, if you catch the right part of the
Hmm.
acapella where there's this beautiful, you know, trill run, they're
Hmm.
things like that. That was a horrible example. Nobody judge me
I
on
like
my
that
singing.
Lisa Shaw Cherry. Every once in a
Oh,
while, I like putting that one in the back. I like taking that acapella because they already had done some remixes where one of them, the regular house one, and then the original, and then there's a breakbeat one that's really good. And I was like, oh,
ooh,
so I took an acapella and I just tried somebody else's breakbeat, and I was like, oh yeah, that worked nice, just very nice. And you just come back in because you're like already at like 122 or something.
yeah. So you're a producer. You've been producing for how long? How long would you say you've been producing?
2012, yeah,
Since
2012.
2012.
First label was KMB Records off in Oh crap, I forgot now. Where do they sell weed and it's legal in Europe?
Oh, Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, yeah,
Yeah,
Amsterdam label. Yeah, it's been a while. 2012.
Amsterdam. Uh,
Amsterdam.
so you started 2012
Hmm. Officially, yeah,
officially,
being
and
signed. Yeah,
you put out a ton of music, man. A lot of
mm.
music. Um,
Yeah, for a lot of labels out there, even techno labels, because I was doing some techno too, deep house, and yeah, Bonsai record label.
yeah.
Yeah.
When you started producing, was it always just house music? It sounds like it was techno. Were there any other genres that you would kind of delve into? Would you do
Deep
progressive,
house,
deep? Okay.
deep house, techno, tech house. Um, I got into soulful when I did Brother Basil, is it? Is it right?
Brother Basil. Yep.
Yeah, Basil, yeah. I did a remix for him
Mm-hmm.
one time, and that's when I got into the deep house thing. And I just didn't, I haven't put any soulful house, I haven't put any soulful house out yet, officially. Because I was trying to
Yeah.
get on some American labels. You know what I mean?
What were you
I didn't want
working
to
with
do any
Michael?
more European.
Right.
Michael
Were
Proctor? Yeah.
Were you working with Michael Proctor at one point? And did you guys put
Yeah.
any releases
Hmm.
together?
Hmm. We put out three, four releases. Yeah. Sure did under
Nice.
his stuff. Yeah. The My Chance stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. He used to come
Um.
over the house, sing all the time. It was cool.
Yeah. You
I
guys
got
had a
stuff that
relationship.
hasn't been put out.
I bet. I bet. I mean, he's just got
Yeah.
such a powerful voice.
I got some Teddy P stuff that he sent us. I got,
Oh,
yeah. Oh
really?
man, you got to hear it once you got to come over. Oh yeah, yeah, pretty cool.
Nice. So, who would you say is the biggest supporter of you? Who was your biggest supporter through your musical career?
Oh goodness, my wife.
That's an
Yeah,
easy
all the
one to
way.
answer. There's
Yeah,
only one
because
right
I was doing
answer when you're a married man.
well before I got back into DJing.
Right.
Once I came back from Florida, I was doing rock and roll. I was in rock and roll and heavy metal bands. I worked at a studio. Another
Hmm.
friend worked at, and they recorded there. So, like when Kiss or Alice in Chains or one of those bands would come in back in the 90s, early 90s, I would see them there, just walk through the halls. And they'd be
Wow.
recording because they're in for a concert or something. So maybe they want their guitar repaired, which is one of my homeboys would repair guitars. So, and amplifiers. So, yeah, I was always there. And that's how I started drumming, even though I play guitar, in a heavy metal heavy metal band, dude, well, of all things, right?
Yeah.
But I knew how to play drums. I was like, yeah, because there was a heavy metal band there. Their drummer had just walked out, pissed off. So I was like, yeah, I'll play for you guys. I know what y'all playing because I used to hear them every other night, practicing there because they would rent. And so I was like, yeah, you're playing Metallica and all this other stuff. So all right, I'll play. I'm over here doing all this double bass Lars Ulrich stuff, whatever it is, drummers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I moved to guitar from there. But I was in bands before I started DJing again, That's one thing I skipped.
The
Rock,
de-
heavy
were
metal.
Were you with your wife back then? Like, or was
Oh
this?
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Got married in 90. So it was like
Wow.
90. Yeah.
Yeah. Every time I keep forgetting um when you and I talk about old days, like my old days are different than your old days, and you look younger than me.
I do got to give it up before I forget to Champa more.
Oh
Remember
yeah.
Andy?
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's the one who, when I got into DJing again with house music, that he's the one that got me my first gigs in town. He
Right.
was one of the first.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Javier Reina introduced
yeah.
us.
He helped me too. Javier Reyna, yeah,
Yeah.
he helped me too.
Shout
Shout out
out.
to Greg Stevens also. He
Shout out
still helps
Greg.
me now. Yep,
Yeah, for sure.
yep.
Yeah, those are good people, man. Everybody you've mentioned there are good
And these are all
people.
different generations of house music in Houston. All three of them people.
Yep,
Andy
exactly.
being the earliest.
Yeah.
Yep. I've
I
been
met
through all these
Andy.
fools.
Yeah, I met Andy. Through him giving me attitude at at clubs at Club Some.
He did. He did.
He
He
just he was
did.
tired of all the because after hours is not a
Uh,
fun gig, man. Because you're just
no,
like
it's not.
you're dealing
Plus,
with
you're
the
carrying your own stuff.
drunks, the dregs of the night, the people that didn't link up with nobody. They just came out to the after hours.
Yeah. After
Not
hours
to
is hard.
minimize, Club Some was a very unique place. Like, I think some people would just go to Club Some on the weekends. They wouldn't even
Who's that?
really.
Michael DeGracie?
Oh yeah, Michael DeGrace, Leroy Peters. I'm sure
Yeah,
there's other
yeah.
people I'm missing, but those were the two main.
Yeah,
Like,
that place turned into a venue. That's right.
yeah. So yeah,
I
that was
remember that place.
yeah.
We used to go see rock and roll there.
Yeah, it's funny, man.
Yep.
You and I actually have very similar origin stories, so to speak. I started out in punk rock.
Red Square. Remember Red Square?
Yeah, that was the first place I ever danced was Red Square. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny because nowadays when I
That
tell
was when The
people I
Cure
used to
was
dance,
in.
yeah, exactly. It's funny nowadays when I tell people that I used to dance, they're like, what do you mean, like,
You? You
what do you mean,
danced?
like Chippendales
What's
or
that? Yeah.
La Bears? No, dude. I used to b-boy. It's the big, that's the best
Oh
way that
man.
I can, because if I just say dance, then they're like, oh, what kind of dance are you doing? I don't know.
Hey, to
It's
all the
certainly
B
not
girls and B
ballet.
boys,
I don't have the
all the B
ballet.
boys and the B
Yeah,
girls that come to the clubs and dance. I
yeah,
see
man.
y'all. I
Yeah,
see y'all.
exactly. Shout out
Yeah,
a young
they're always
Chris.
there.
Shout out assorted
Mm-hmm.
flavors. Shout out
Yeah, young Chris.
all those cats that are out there still jamming, still
Mm-hmm.
getting people in the crowd hyped up.
I'd be down on the floor breaking with y'all, but man, I'm 52. I'll break something. That's all I do.
Break something.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me a little bit about your creative process. What does that look like for you? Because I know you're a very musical person. Obviously, I know it's blurred out, but I can see drum kit in the background, keyboard.
Yeah, I got
What
my guitars, bass here, drum kit, keyboard here. I got
do you have
equipment
like
right
a
down
particular time of day when you like to do that, or is it just like when the moment strikes you, or what does that look like
here.
for you?
3 in the morning when it's quiet. Um, or if I dream something, or before I start dreaming, I'll think of something. It could be rock. I still record rock.
Yeah.
Um, but beats and bass lines come to my head. Sometimes chords. It's right before I go to sleep, and then I'll just lay there, and then I'll just wake up and got to get it done. Got to lay it down before I forget, because you will forget. You think you're gonna remember, you won't. You ain't gonna remember. Don't fool yourself. You got to record it, write it down, whatever it is you're doing. If you're somebody that a lyricist or something, that's what I do. Usually, I'm up at around 3, anywhere between 3 6 in the morning, just
Wow.
doing something. Yeah, laying something down
I
or
used to
going,
think I woke up early.
mixing something.
I used to think I
Oh,
woke up early, man. I wake up at 5, and that's like plenty early for me. 3 o'clock.
sometimes I'll go to bed early. So I mean, I'll go to bed by like 8. Sometimes I'll wake up at 12 if I just feel like it, and I'll be up till 6:30 in the morning recording. Or
Do you
sometimes
have?
just on track source, listening to like 1,000 songs.
Oh yeah, for
Like I'll
sure.
just hit play all. I'll go to a
Yeah,
genre and hit play all, or just all the music, so you can hear all the music that came in new, and just hit play all and just be there. Pick up a guitar, just whatever.
yeah. That's
I
dope.
listen to a lot of music. Yeah, I try to keep up with what's going on. I try. Can't
I know
remember all the names.
you mastered your brother's album, his last album, right? Shout out Tim
God, how'd you find
Gonzalez.
that out?
Yeah, it sounded really awesome, man. I love that. I love listening to newer stuff and experimental stuff and things that are a little bit darker. I get into it.
Mhm.
I won't DJ it, obviously, but like I do
Yeah.
get really into that kind of stuff. I've always kind of been that way. When people say, um, Oh, I love music, any kind of music. I literally get into all different types of stuff. Even like when it comes to R&B or like let's just say alternative urban alternative music in general.
Yeah.
I'm always kind of like looking at different genres and different listening to different things just to see what people are doing. Like in the UK, what they're doing with R&B is really cool. So
My YouTube algorithm is all jacked up.
oh
I
yeah,
listen to
exactly.
everything.
Oh yeah,
If
for
you if
sure.
you if you go on my log on to my YouTube, it's like, what? Dua Lipa and who else?
Yeah,
Roland Clark? What?
right.
How did these two go?
Chris Stapleton. You're like, what
Yeah,
the hell?
yeah. Oh
Like,
yeah. That dude's pretty good though. You
oh,
gotta
he's
admit that
soulful,
dude
bro.
got that
Yeah.
voice.
There's this
Natural.
dude, Marcus King from Austin.
Yep. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Oh,
Yep.
guy is amazing, man. I mean, just heavy set white boy, long
He's the
hair,
one that
wears.
plays that big hollow body guitar,
Yeah,
electric, right?
man.
Big red one. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That
beautiful, man.
Gibson ES335. Yeah.
I seen him kill it live. It's
Haven't
incredible.
seen him live.
Yeah,
I got to
but
get out, see that sort of, rock and roll and blues again. Houston's big for that. And I just ain't been out there.
especially blues and jazz. There's always been a place
Jazz.
for that in in Houston, especially.
Oh
So, what do you
yeah,
think that
yeah.
music has taught you about yourself? Whether it's house music, rock and roll, whatever. What do you feel like music has taught you about yourself?
How to be patient.
Mm,
Patience, especially when you're DJing. How to be patient with people. You know what I mean? It can go all kinds of ways when you're DJing at certain places. But music, especially when you're listening to all the kinds of music we listen to, me and you, it's it's a different thing. I mean, it's country ain't house,
yeah,
but yet they have the same emotional impact on you when you listen to a certain song in each genre. Still the same emotional impact. You know what I mean? Even though songs are totally different. That's what. Yeah. So it teaches me patience. When you talk to people in life. Yeah, I don't know how to really explain it any more than that. Just I just put all three of those together. The DJing, the different genres of music, and then the way I am, because I'm not patient. I'm not a patient person.
if I asked your kids what
Oh,
your
they tell you I'm not patient.
how many
Oh
kiddos did you end
goodness,
up raising? How many kids you got?
two, two,
A boy and a
like
girl.
34 and 31.
You
Damn, I
had
don't
your
know,
you
something
had your
like
kids when you were 12 years old.
Well, I mean, I had been living on the street already when I was 14 and a half, so
Yeah,
I was living on the street.
yeah,
I already partied all I wanted to all the way till I was like 18. I was done.
right.
I was baked. I was done. I was done. There was no future. So yeah, I got with it.
Man, it's music is just an incredible escape sometimes from all the things that could be bothering us, all the things that could be
Hmm.
in our way or getting in our way. Sometimes we need a place to kind of disappear and listen to some cool music and be excited about that for a little bit. And sometimes we end up making our way okay. Like I think the reason why I say that a lot, I personalize that a lot, is just because my life as a young person, all the way up until I was probably 18, just lived in chaos, man. A lot of my life. I even had to kind of battle with it as I got older, right? Like even into my 20s
Yeah,
and
dude.
30s, just trying to like,
Because it's how you grew up.
yeah, but
Yeah.
like the place where all of that kind of disappeared and I felt like I was equals with people I could, in any other normal circumstance felt like I wouldn't mix was on a dance floor, being out there, whether I was entertaining people through dance or entertaining people through music, I felt like it was a great equalizer. We were all there to heal in some way. Some of us positively, some of us not, but at the end of the day, we all got through it together, and we grew up. Um,
Sounds like breakdancing.
yeah, yeah,
Nobody fought. We all just got together and danced it
yeah.
off.
Just danced at each other, right? Little dance battle.
Yep, dance battle.
So, do you have a website? Are you on the internets? Do you have a lot
No,
of social media?
no,
Yeah,
not
that's what I
really,
say,
dude. I'm
dude.
just
You're
on
like,
Facebook, Wonji. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
closed off.
I say
Yeah,
you're the best kept secret in Houston, man. Because seriously, dude, like everything you've touched musically just is beautiful, man.
nah,
Um,
it ain't all that yet. You'll see.
do you
Yeah, especially working with Lorne from Arrested Development.
great? What do you have coming out soon?
Um, Fly Away with Lorne. Um, I got Anthony Poteet, and he did My Friend. Um, I have a song called Hustle by Blaze. Have
Oh
another
shit.
one called these are all Soulful House songs, jams, and they groove. Have another one from Melrose. It's called I'm in Love. Yeah,
Nice.
all those plus more, but those are done, ready to get out the door.
Who would you say are your biggest inspirations for house music production? Do you model yourself after someone, or like to tune your drums a certain way after someone? Is there somebody in particular, or an artist, or maybe even a group of artists that kind of inspire you for your production?
I would say all the New York guys, really, all of
Yeah,
them. You know,
Ralphie Rosario,
I mean,
Louis
all of the
Vega.
guys. You know, that's
Yeah,
what I was used to listening to. I mean, um, salsa music. I mean, all of that. Now they call it Afro House. I mean, uh, you know, uh, all the guys. I mean, all the guys and the girls that were doing that sort of stuff back in the 80s, the mid to late 80s, because that's when it really took off. When 1990 came around, boy, that stuff really just got, labels really paid attention. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And a lot of that stuff got sent into mainstream. Some of it, you can remember. I mean, a
yeah.
lot of
Of
that
course.
stuff. And then all the, you got Marky Mark and the Funky you got
Are you saying that's your
you know
inspiration?
no that's what mainstream took, and it was that it worked, because those beats, those were, house beats. I mean you can hear them in the background, those samples, the beat. So I mean,
How do you feel about the technology that's available now to people? I was having a conversation just to kind of
mm,
elucidate a little bit on this. I was having this conversation about the drum machine, right? The drum
mm,
machine was a huge invention that changed music for the urban landscape forever,
mm,
for
which was a
indefinitely.
karaoke device.
Right. And
Yeah.
so like the drum machine was something like if you didn't have a drum machine, you had to have a drummer, right? And if you're a broke
mm,
inner city kid, the only way you
practice.
could. So I say that because like now there's technology that makes things a lot easier for us, and I think it's easy for us to go, the use of technology, people are just lazy. I think that people can be also creative, really creative with things.
Okay. I
So
get
how do
what
you
you're
feel about
saying.
technology in today's music landscape?
Well, we can always go back to the guitar. Just like you said with technology, where you were just saying that people can sound lazy. Imagine the guitar before any drum machines. There was people that just sounded lazy ass on guitar. They weren't any good. I mean, They're just lazy. Same thing. You ain't gonna be good if you don't practice, practice, practice. Same thing goes with if it's just a drum machine. You can't think of it as anything else but an instrument. That's what it is, right? I mean, if you don't practice your instrument, you're never gonna get good at it, Never gonna make something interesting come out of it, like a guitar or drums
Yeah.
or bass or even your voice. If you don't practice and practice, you ain't gonna get good. I mean, it is what it's gonna be, if you don't practice. I mean, it doesn't matter how tech. I mean, a lot of things I get what you're saying. Some people that a lot of music is sounding the same.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they're using all the same stuff.
They're
You know,
using the same loop packs, the same
yes,
breaks, everything.
that too. Yeah, we can go through Track Source and go through the top 200 songs of any genre. I guarantee you're going to run through same bass lines, maybe filtered just a little different, not chopped up any other way. Same beats, definitely. I mean, same rhythms. You're going to find all that. Maybe it's in a different key because somebody pitched it up, transposed it up or something. But yeah, I mean, that's just being lazy though, right? That's just taking a sample and just you're just dragging your sample into your DAW, poof, hitting play. Oh, I made a song.
Right.
No, you didn't. No, that's lazy. You know, that's like that's like picking up a guitar, hitting the E string, and saying, "Yep, that's a take." No, dude, no, that's not a take, dude. you know, uh, I don't know any what other way to explain it. It's just that's just laziness.
What about when it
Um,
comes to
I love
DJing?
technology. I
Yeah.
love technology and DJing too. Oh man, the sync button.
Yeah.
Like,
What's up with the
screw
sync
everybody
button?
with the sync button. I don't care about a sync button, what you feel about it. If I could have four CDJs, right? And they could stay in sync while I'm doing something creative, not something just going back and forth. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Playing a 7 minute song, waiting the last 2 minutes to mix into deck two and doing the same thing to three and four. That's not doing anything with four. You could do that with two turntables, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about four turntables. You're doing some really cool stuff, samples flowing, and maybe you're getting some samples off of a disco song, which they're not timed unless you did it at home. You know what I
Right.
mean? And sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have it on my USB stick, and I'm just like, boom, freeform right there. That the sync. I don't mind it. Cool, whatever. It's
Yeah.
keeping my stuff in sync. So what? That's technology.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, so what? You're gonna deny the loop button? If you because back in the day for us, you know how to loop. Back in the day on turntables, you had to have two damn records.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to
Yeah.
buy
That would
twice
take
your
up
damn
most of your
record
time
collection.
DJing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You had to
Looping, just going back and forth.
yeah.
I mean, that's how you looped until before the sampler came around. Much less a sampler on a mixer like the DJM 600 pioneers and on up.
Yeah. Nowadays that
It's
it's rock
technology.
solid.
It's what you're gonna deny the loop? People abuse the loop right now. Laziness on the loop button. I think. You
Yeah.
know,
There's even like really popular DJs that use a loop through most of the
Spen does it the
song.
best. And what's his
Oh
name?
yeah. I mean,
K-Tronic. They
yeah,
use
Charisma
it
and
the
Spin,
best. The cue and the loop.
they've been
That's how you
doing that.
use it. Please. That's how
Yeah.
you use it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Charisma and Spin, ever since I
And all
saw
the
them.
and all the hip hop DJs that do it right.
Yeah. When the first time I went to Miami Winter Music Conference, I think it was 2007, and I saw DJ Spen and Charisma play
Mm.
back to back, and they were using the CDJ as an
CDJs, yeah.
as an instrument, and it was
Sampler.
it was just
On the fly, just
incredible
do-do-do.
to
They
watch
knew when to
that.
hit it.
Yeah, it's a different style of play. It's a different style of
Mhm.
like doing your presentation, but you
Like
really
Baltimore
get to
style.
be, yeah, I mean
That's a
it's very
B-more style
Baltimore.
right there. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
B-more style right there.
So I love those. I loved watching those guys, and I saw Charisma. Charisma's been to Atlanta like several times, which is crazy. It's awesome to see. I can't tell you how many times living in Houston was like, man, I wish somebody would book Charisma because I can't
Mm,
afford it, you know. And
yeah.
now I've seen him like at least a handful of times here, and I'm, instead of paying out thousands of dollars to bring the brother to Houston, like I just paid my $20 or whatever, to get into the party. So I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Music is an interesting place, man. It's that very few people. I believe that there are very few people who actually love music. I think that there's a lot of people who are great. They're good at like they like certain songs, they like certain things, but I don't think there's very many people who love music the way some of us do, and even DJs. Quite honestly, I don't think. I think
Hmm.
some DJs play music um, because it's what's popular and it's what gets them the kind of attention that they want. But at the end of the day, a lot of their programming is just based around what's popular and
Yeah.
what's going to be easy for people to hear. They're like, oh,
Digest.
that's very familiar. I'm gonna,
Yeah.
play this because I know, it's gonna get girls dancing or guys dancing or
There ain't
people
no more crate
drinking.
digging. There
Yeah,
ain't no more real crate digging.
no,
That's
man.
what
I think that
back in the
I
day
think
you
that
had to find your music at the store, and yeah,
yeah.
if you didn't find it, you were there for hours trying to find that stuff. But what you found, yeah.
I think that DJing can still be an an art form, a way of presenting music to people without the need to like, oh, I've got to play this song because people from Detroit are here, or that song because people from Chicago are here. I want people to come and listen to the music that I present because they enjoy the composition that I put together. I think that's always been my motivation for playing. I hate it when have to feel like, oh man, this is not really working. Let me play this compulsory tune. It's not because it works into the mix. It's because because I believe like, hey, bring your compulsory tunes because it works in your mix, not because you have to excite people again. I like to challenge people when I play music too. I think sometimes you have to hear some things in music that you maybe not used to. Hearing like a poetry, like a lot more poetry in the music instead of just vocal samples or a weird guitar lick. Santana playing over a bunch of drums. Stuff like that. That's just that's interesting to me. And then hopefully at the end of the day, hopefully people enjoy it, right? Hopefully they are entertained by it and then they come back and they get it, right?
Oh, you just have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
All musicians, all great musicians, that's all they had to do was be honest with themselves, and they became great
Yeah.
because they stuck to their guns. That's all you got to do. You can't satisfy everybody. Don't think about that.
Right.
That's what you can't do. That's just gonna tire you out.
Yeah, I think it's a tough proposition trying to satisfy everybody. It's a better
uh,
proposition to
be honest with yourself.
be
Like what you
honest,
like. Yeah.
play your truth, so
Uh-huh.
to speak,
Yeah.
to kind
That's
of
it.
a colloquialism, be
And
your true self.
you're a DJ, so you're telling a story with the songs, each and every one that you play in order.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you're that kind of a DJ, not all DJs are that way.
I do like to
They
try and
don't.
do that.
There is no story. They're just playing, and that's the problem that I see. And I think that what you were talking about before, there is no story line. I like telling a story as I play. I don't mean, and I don't mean, oh, I'm gonna start off with a slow jam and work my way up. No, no, no. It's just whatever the feeling is that I'm feeling when I walk in and I walk up to the tables. Boom, I'm gonna start from right there.
Nice.
and start telling a story right there. So
That's what I like about East Coast DJs, man. I'm sure there's plenty of what Midwest and West Coast DJs that think about music like that. But the first people I ever heard of, like people were telling me, "Oh man, you should go to Body and Soul because there was a day when Joe was
uh,
playing. He played this track. He played Love Sensation, and he played Doctor Love, and he played another like love song or something, and you're just like, man, he was like really in a mood for love at that time. And I
mm,
just remember that resonating with me so much, like just thinking, man,
uh,
that seems like real connection. Like people understand, they're sophisticated enough to understand. Like, oh man, this brother is saying something right now.
mm-hmm.
I want people to listen deeper into what we do and see, if they can go, oh man, I'm getting a thread here. Like Wonji's being raunchy or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
wherever you want to go.
I'll line up my songs that way where if it's some sort of love soulful song, then then I'll play maybe a breakup song afterwards. You know,
Yeah,
as long as the mood was right. There's a lot of songs out there, so
sure.
um, yeah, that's how I like connecting them with the words. That's why I like playing words. And most of my music.
Yeah,
I just don't want to do like a whole tech house set where it's just no words and just a beat, which ain't bad. I mean, sometimes I like it, but I mean, yeah, I want people to feel something, and when somebody's singing it, it puts them in the mood, some sort of mood.
yeah. I think that the people that come to our shows now, they're really starting to understand that aspect of what we're doing. We're really trying to drive home that each one of us has a particular sound and a particular way of playing our music. We want people
Mm-hmm.
to kind of come and enjoy that, and then as well be entertained by the people that we bring because we have so much respect for you guys. And it's a city that is filled with super talented people such as yourself that you guys don't always have an open format to just play that stuff that we know makes you great. So it's going to be really great having you on the show, and I think people are going to really enjoy
Oh yeah,
listening to you.
thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. So any final shout outs that you want to give to
Jelando Johnson, my bass player.
nice,
Yeah, he's in a bunch of jazz bands. He's probably touring right now. Yeah, he's my bass player.
nice.
Oh yeah, Lorne, Blaze, yeah, Anthony Poteet, Greg Stevens, yeah, giving me the shot. He was, when I came back, Greg, he's the one that gave me one of my first shots again, of course, because I've been through, like I said, lots of generations of DJs through here. Champa and then Javier and then promoters. I've
Yeah.
been through all these guys. But Greg, he was the latest one to give me a chance. Play places, and I take up for him, when he can't, if he's got another gig. So yeah, Greg, thanks.
Shout out, Greg. Well, cool, man. It was great talking to you. Um, we look forward to seeing you on Saturday, October 26th at
26.
Exposure at
Yep.
Bald Kitty. That's gonna be from 9 p.m. to midnight. No charge, but make sure
Bald
you guys
Kitty.
RSVP.
Mm-hmm.
T-
Eventbrite.
just allows us to stay in touch with you guys if we have any changes or anything like that. It allows us to stay in touch. So make sure you guys do RSVP, even if the event is free. We like to always stay in touch with you guys, especially if you love what we present and bring super talented people like DJ Wonji. Actually, it's not even DJ, right? It's just Wonji. Um,
I hate
bring people
the
like,
name DJ.
yeah,
It's
I
too
know, but yeah,
It's for free.
yes, sir. All right, man. We'll see you on the dance floor. Peace.